Hello, thank you for taking the time today to come and hear what we have to say about the Veteran Support Centers of America. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk with you today. I apologize for the fact that I'm not here in person, but we thought we'd put this video together so we can introduce you to what's going on out at Camp Royal Oak. Again, this presentation is brought to you by the Veteran Support Centers of America, which is a rural solution for veteran transition housing, and it is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The purpose of this briefing is to inform you about the current efforts addressing the homeless veterans on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and secondly, to inform about the efforts to support homeless female veterans and their children, and to inform you about the financial requirements it takes to accomplish 1 and 2. Here's the situation. Every 80 minutes, an Iraq-Afghanistan veteran attempts suicide, and every 24 hours, 18 of them are successful. Over 1 million service members have left active duty and reserve status within the last 5 years to return to civilian life in rural communities. This number will more than double within the next 5 years. The unemployment and underemployment rate for single enlisted Iraq-Afghanistan vets under 23 is over 30%. Please understand, they have been in a wartime military their entire adult working lives with multiple combat tours. The issues that they have transferring their military schools back to the civilian job market contribute to unemployment and then lead to homelessness in many cases. An additional contributing factor is that the jobs that have been taken by non-veterans of the same age who entered the civilian workforce after high school. These individuals are now managers and they've progressed up through the ranks of their civilian businesses. And so when the veteran comes back, the only jobs that are left for them are the entry-level jobs. An underemployment situation. Add to that the tremendous disorientation, the general disorientation upon transitioning from the structured military life to the civilian workforce. The rate of homelessness in veterans during Iraq and Afghanistan wars has already exceeded post-Vietnam War rates. And additionally, the female veteran with children are now our fastest growing numbers of homeless. When you add back in the Vietnam and the Gulf War veterans, you put those numbers together, we have a real problem on our hands. Fortunately, the entire burden of this crisis does not fall on our shoulders on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Our mission is to make sure no veteran and his or her family is homeless on the Eastern Shore. We are to serve as a point of entry into the Veterans Administration healthcare system for homeless and near homeless veterans on the Eastern Shore. And we serve as a temporary housing facility for veterans returning to the Eastern Shore from the Veterans Administration treatment facilities. This is a picture of Camp Royal Oak. Here's how we're going to execute on that mission. Camp Royal Oak, we took over Camp Royal Oak towards the beginning of this year, moved the facility from a location that was across from the Armory in Salisbury. This is was a Title X boys home that has been vacant for about 3 years before we took it over. It is a fully ADA compliant facility located in Quantico, Maryland. So, Camp Royal Oak, who? It is the Eastern Shore of Maryland's only homeless veteran shelter facility. What? And this is important. This is an up and operating facility that has successfully reintegrated currently 97 of 101 male homeless veterans, guests, 3 families, which included 7 children and 1 female veteran. And these numbers are current as of about 9 February. Where's it located? Quantico, Maryland, serving the entire Delmarva area. The male facility opened up in 2010 as Forbes Hall, as I've said. The female facility opened in 15 December 2012, and that opened 1 month ahead of schedule to meet a critical need. And why, again? Is to support the elimination of veteran homelessness on the Delmarva Peninsula. Admin and logistics. The male facility? The male facility has 10 VA contract and 6 privately funded male beds. By having the mix between the VA beds and the privately funded beds, this provides us an overflow capability, all that are off contract. Understand, the VA criteria for taking in a veteran is fairly rigid, but we are the only game in town, and this requires us to have some flexibility to help veterans. So those 6 privately funded beds allow us to bring in maybe that individual that doesn't quite fit the criteria for the VA, or an individual who needs to have some time before he fits the criteria for the VA, and allows us to act rapidly and fast in order to help somebody while we get them processed into the VA. So it also provides that overflow capability, and it provides the flexibility in the intake criteria. It also allows us some flexibility to interact with other shelters in some of the other states. We have a 24/7 support staff. It is a VA inspected and improved program. And probably the most important thing, which I attribute to the success that the facility has had, is the guest support plan. This plan is an extremely comprehensive tracking system, and it works with the veteran, with a guest, from the time they enter the program to the time they have successfully transitioned from the program. And successfully is defined by when they leave the facility, they've gone to a place with a roof over their head, food in their stomach, and they're fully integrated into the VA healthcare system. Additionally, the facility hosts on-site veteran support services. A tremendous number of services come to the facility to provide support to the veterans on-site. In addition, the facility, Camp Royal Oak staff, arrange for transportation to VA treatment facilities or to other counseling sessions as necessary. This is a picture of what a bedroom looks like in the male birthing area. You see four racks, 4 beds. Understand the concept here. At this time of crisis in a number of our veterans' lives, sometimes it's good to be able to go back and reset to that point in time in our lives when we were successful. Everybody was successful at one point in time in their lives, and this is a good example of what that environment looked like when they were successful. Every veteran coming into the facility understands how to make their rack, how to field day and police their area. We have a common bond and a common baseline that we can reset back to and build from. Slide, please. As again, I said, the facility is fully ADA compliant. Here's an example of some of that. This is the showering facilities. We do have veterans, handicapped veterans, challenged veterans that use the facilities. So by having these facilities or these capabilities, it helps us meet the mission. Fully stocked kitchen. The way it works out there is everybody pulls duty, either fixing chow, cleaning up afterwards. It just works on a team with a duty roster. Again, going right back to the baseline that we all understand. Nice, comfortable lounging area. The facility is not as comfortable as Grandma's house. It's not supposed to be. But while our guests are there, we make every attempt to provide a good, safe, comfortable environment. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll see that's the office in the background. So what are the male demographics? The male demographics are approximately 1/3 Vietnam veterans. These homeless veterans, the homeless Vietnam veterans that we care for, our guests, they're they're chronically homeless. This is a chronic homeless situation. Predominantly, that's not across the board, but a number of them, it's been a chronic homeless situation. And they're long-time substance abuse and lifestyle issues. And once again, by having a facility in Del Mar, by having a facility in our area, that these people can come from the woods, literally, come from the woods, come from where they are, come to this place where you have a team of veterans working together to help address issues. We have seen some tremendous turnarounds in what have otherwise been long-term situations in people's lives. Another 1/3 are Desert Storm, Desert Shield. These are basically the what the heck just happened to me crowd. Most of them are typically, they're employed. They weren't dealing, many of them weren't dealing with some of the same issues that the Vietnam veterans dealt with when they came home. They've had jobs, and there's a sudden impact with the economy, a job, a divorce, some life-changing issue, and things just fell apart. And it's, oh my gosh, I'm homeless. They typically hit the ground running. They'll hit the ground fastest to rebound into Warwick, into some type of a training, retrain back out the door. And then finally, we have about 1/3 of the Iraq-Afghanistan veterans. These young men and women are having some tough times. A tremendous amount of post-traumatic stress. You notice I don't even put a D on the chart. I have a hard time associating that to being a disorder. Coming back from a combat zone and being in a combat environment is long. I can't quite imagine how somebody wouldn't have some sort of a stress. So we have post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injuries, a lot of injuries, significant injuries, which a lot of this in the rural community without immediate access to VA health care and medical care are leading to a lot of self-medication. You get discharged, here's a couple of bottles of Vicodin. When they run out, by that time hopefully you'll be in the VA system and good luck. Well, when they run out, it doesn't work that smoothly, and they'll end up with self-medicating alcohol and other drugs as necessary to take away the pain. A lot of them end up being kicked out of the home. We've had veterans driven to the facility by their father. Tough times, but the family just can't deal with the issues that the veterans brought home from combat. And there may be legal issues as well, run-ins with the law as such, very high unemployment rate contributing to all of the above. In the female facility, now understand, after the Gulf War, the number of females in the military has significantly increased, and specifically the number of females that are operating in combat zone. So where we may not have seen the same numbers of homeless issues in the female population after the Gulf War, when you fast forward now into the Iraq-Afghanistan war and see how many of our females have been in combat situations, they're now dealing with the same PTS issues that the male counterparts have at the greater numbers. You can see how the female issue is accelerating. So to address that, we opened up what is the only female veterans shelter facility that we know of anywhere close by, quite frankly. This was a tough thing to do, and it was met with a tremendous amount of concern by a number of people. You're going to take care of females, that's really tough. I mean, that's scary. Well, if not us, then who? Somebody. I mean, and it's a need that had to be met. So we've engaged, we have a female family facility. It has 3 privately funded bedrooms. There is currently no VA financial support for that. And the way this works is 1 bedroom is the equivalent of 2 single beds. So the bedrooms can be reconfigured. When we speak for the male facility, we talk specifically in the term of racks or beds. In the female facility, because we can reconfigure for female, single, and families, we talk in terms of bedrooms, but each bedroom has an equivalent of 2 single beds. And again, it can be refigured based upon the guest mix, and it provides single family or multiple family shelter capability. And it supports the interaction with other shelters. There are other shelters that help with families and children, but we work together with those to address the veterans. It also has a 24/7 support staff, and we work with the Maple Shade for the children's support. We also host and facilitate veteran support services on staff. This is a picture of the female facility at Camp Royal Oak. You'll see that this is more of a house. This probably has a little bit more of the flavor of being a grandma's house. It's a little less rigid, less birthing space type environment as the male facility. However, it is set up to be a temporary facility. It's not designed to be a long-term. The goal is not to have a long-term stay here. It's to help. They're here to get reintegrated, to let things calm down, get reorganized, and then be able to move out into their own place. So everything we've been talking about, of course, there's a funding requirement that goes with it. The cost per bed, per equivalent bed per year is $24,000. So that equates to a cost per equivalent bed per month of $2,000. Currently, we have 10 male beds a month funded by the U.S. Veterans Administration. People have to come in, they have to be qualified, and they get on that particular contract, and 10 beds, up to 10 male beds will be funded. Now understand, we're in the job of working ourselves out of a job. It is our, this is not a place where we want people to come and stay long term. The average stay typically is about 4 months, but we're working hard to move people on. So whereas the VA contract will go up to 10 beds, There may be times where we'll surge, 16, we'll be up at 16 people, and then we'll bring it down. We're working hard to bring it down, and we may be at 8, 9 for a period of time before we go back up. When we fall below 10, you're only paid for the number of VA beds, the VA approved individuals in the facility on a nightly basis. So what that normally means, if we are fully being funded by the VA, 10 male beds per month are funded. Then currently we have funding for 3 equivalent beds funded by a service-disabled veteran-owned small business in the area. And we have 9 unfunded bed equivalents. Right now we have 9 bed equivalents across the female and the male that are basically unfunded. And we have veteran support organizations that come in and kick in funding on an ad hoc or on a basis to help meet some of the needs. Bottom line is funding is still required. We do need donations. If we need people to step up and say, I'll sponsor a bed for a month, for a year, or whatever other support is available. So if you'd like to provide some support, again, I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you today. Sorry I couldn't be here in person, but to be able to provide support, please contact me. My contact information is on the screen. There's my email address. If you'd like to discuss donation methods, options, services that we can use out there, again, your support is sincerely appreciated. This is a local effort. This is a local effort supporting our veterans, our sons and daughters who have served this country on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Appreciate your time. If you have any questions, I'm sure there's somebody here who is presenting this to your group, or if you're seeing this via a webinar or something like that. Sincerely appreciate you taking the time to listen to the story. Thank you very much.